articles here tonight. And like I said, I'm probably going to be doing this once or twice a week, maybe more. It depends, because it's a lot easier than doing the actual videos that I do. With the editing and the special effects and stuff like that. Because those, I like doing the videos. I built a computer just for it, just for the video, because if you build it, you can get a lot more computer for your money if you build it yourself. And so I went pretty far, and I built a nice system for making the videos. But it just seems like a waste of time, because I keep getting censored. Whereas these, I don't know, it doesn't seem to get that bad with the streams and stuff like that. If you have any questions, put it in the stream here. I'll probably, hopefully, be able to answer them. But let me just see if I can. I want to have both of these things on the screen at the same time here. Make sure everything fits. Okay. And I apologize for, kind of starting off kind of slow. I don't have a camera on this. Well, I do, but I don't have it hooked up. And my wife won't let me go on camera. We get enough death threats. So, not that I'm fearful. I worry for the people that are dumb enough to threaten us, because whatever they want to do to me or my family ends up happening to them, and so I don't want them. And I'm not kidding. You wouldn't believe some of the things that we've seen over the years. So I just assume, stay underground if you can. Fly under the radar, if you will. So let's see. I want to show you something here. Let me get this current events thing off the screen here. I can't remember where I put the browser. There it is. It's right there on the same screen. Okay, so. Okay, I'm going to start off with this article. And I didn't read this yet, and so I'm just going to show you what the headline says here. But check this out. Okay, it looks like it fell behind it, so I got to shut this other one off. There it is. Interesting, isn't it? But this is what we expected, okay? Because as Christians, we understand. Wait, let me get this to where it fits into the window on my stream here. I guess that fits, doesn't it? No, it looks like I got a big old black bar all over the place in there. Oh, that's it. That's about all I'm going to get. Anyway, if you study prophecy, you know what you're looking at right now. Oh, wow. Let me get that 202 thing out of there. I just noticed that because I typed the date in there. Okay. It should disappear in a second. All right. As students of prophecy, we have studied up and we know that, well, first of all, they're not going to use this kind of a virus thing until the plagues hit, and then they're going to start coming up with all sorts of crazy reasons as to why they all got boils on them. But then again, that's neither here nor there. All the Christians that are going to be martyred are already martyred, and that can happen quite quickly. It does not have to take years for that to go down. And but we know they're going to use climate change to declare, it's the Christians' fault. They're already setting the stage with this article you see on the screen right now, where the New York Times is saying that Christians are to blame for the crippling coronavirus thing. And the reason they say that is because of the first line right there. It says the religious right is anti-science. When in perfect actuality, that's a bold-faced lie. Christians know more about real science than the atheists or the evolutionists, for example. And as a matter of fact, you got to have more faith to believe in evolution than you do to have to believe in creationism and to believe in God. You need a lot more faith to believe in that silliness of whatever. But the thing is, what I like about Dr. Karl Barth, I've mentioned him many, many times, and he showed that if you take real science, and you go into the book of Genesis, especially in regards to creation week, he used science and proved that all that happened in creation week was plausible, right down to God saying, let there be light. Because think about it, as the world was a formless void of water, he shouted and said, let there be light, right? Well, in a scientific experiment, they say, okay, let's just take the items that we know Genesis says are right there in existence while God says this. And so they took a beaker of water, put it in a soundproof room with absolutely no light, black walls, no light at all. And they just put a sonar cannon and they pointed it at the beaker of water. And they did this on camera. And because I had this was VHS tapes in the day, I had the whole set, all 5 VHS tapes. But they're probably online now. Just go Dr. Carl Baugh's. It's a Creationist Museum in Glendale, Texas. But anyway, they blasted the sonar, like a vibrating sound, at the beaker of water, and it formed a little bubble in the center of the water that was white hot, like the surface of the sun, because they measured the temperature too. And that was, so in other words, whatever the Bible said the Lord did to create either, the sun, the moon, or the stars, or even planet Earth, it all was done exactly as science can prove. Now, we can't prove because we weren't there. And so what it is, it's plausibility. When it comes to evolution, no, there is no plausibility whatsoever. In fact, they got caught lying a whole mess of times. But then again, that was expected to happen because we are in the last days. Now we're in the last minutes. I mean, it's just what's going on out there. They want the one world government by 2030. Seriously, that's 9.5 years from now. That's why you're going to see what you're seeing now, and it's going to get a lot worse. But the fact is, we've been telling people for decades. Actually, when the Seventh-day Adventist Church was first formed, and they had the gift of prophecy, had the gift of utterance, because the only way you're going to understand prophecy is to obey the God that wrote it. And so when the Sabbath-keeping Christians of the 1800s, before they even gave a name, I mean, they were young, they exposed the Pope, they knew prophecy, the Lord gave them understanding of it and all that. So that it was a wonderful time. Let's just put it that way. So they went forth and did the work they were supposed to do, and of course they were infiltrated for doing that by the Jesuits of Rome. Then of course the prophecy says in Matthew 20 verses 1-7 or Revelation 12:17 that the Seventh-day Adventist Church would fall and a remnant of her seed would finish the job, and that's what we're doing right now in the Seventh-day Remnant Church. Well, Seventh-day Remnant movement. Because the overwhelming majority, I think we got just a few church buildings, if you will, in other countries, but not in the U.S. The whole world, every single solitary country, we have every one of them. We have brothers and sisters in there. And it's not like we've ever even, like, for example, thousands of them now are passing out our material, and we never asked anybody to do it. The Lord just moved them to do it, just like it happened in the midnight cry. Well, it's going to happen in the same way. And so anyway, what we've been seeing is, even back then when the SDAs were young, they saw this years ago, actually a little over a century ago, and then now they stopped preaching this for the longest time. In fact, they even took the writings of, say, Ellen White and some of the other pioneers, and they edited them and changed and removed things and added things and made a big mess. And that's why I made a series of videos, you may have seen them, about how they changed the spirit of prophecy. And it did upset a few people, but praise God, it made a lot of them leave the church, because truth is truth. And there's people in it that don't want to hear it, the lies that they're preaching. So anyway, what we're, declaring is they're going to use climate change as the one method that can get everybody on the planet to go along with their agenda. And doing this thing with the coronavirus, which is just bogus. As a matter of fact, I put out an alert. See, I don't know if this is going this is the wrong browser to do it in. But, okay, let me go back to that article. I put out an alert earlier today letting everybody know to watch a 13-minute video where a young lady had a compilation of all these videos where people are watching what's on the news, like MSNBC or NBC or CBS, and they're saying stuff like, "Oh yeah, the hospitals are overwhelmed. They're standing room only. The The waiting rooms, they're packed. There's people standing in lines outside the hospitals. And I like the way she worded it, the name of the title of the video, because they refuse to actually do, well, here, let me get to the video for you here. Because the media won't do their job, the citizens do. And let me go to the community thing here, see if I can get it. I'll get the link and I'll put it here. And here it is. I'll just copy this. Stop it there. Let me start up a new page here. Paste and go. Now, this is the video. It's 13 minutes long. Let me stop it. Okay, I'm just going to... Oh, this is silly ads. But look at the headline. More good news. Citizens, reporters go and do what the media won't. And what she's talking about in this 13 minutes... let me just let it play out this silly spot here. I don't know if you can hear him. But there, let me just lock it there. In other words, these people in these areas where like the mainstream media is saying that the hospitals are jam-packed, people can't get in. Well, these people actually went out there with their cameras or cell phones or whatever, and they found out that was all just lies. The waiting rooms were empty, no lines out there at all, no one taking any tests, no one, at all. There was just no one around. And so they got caught in a lie there. And but then again, that was to be expected. That's why I did this, where was it? The global, I don't know if it was the global compliance. Or this, oh yeah, this one here. The reason they want you to be scared. But I got a ton of stuff in here. All these articles you might want to take a look at when you get time. And there's a connection with the Georgia Guidestones and all this. That was one of the first blog entries I did, and along with all the executive orders that talk about martial law and taking people's rights away from them. But I can't remember where that. One headline was that, anyway, it doesn't matter. But this video I put up the other day, this one here, these guys come into the building with the hazmat suits on, putting flyers at the doorsteps of everybody. I think it's a condominium complex in the UK or England or something. And they were telling everybody to stay in the houses, I guess, because the homeless man that lives in the bottom doorway, if you will, of the building died 2 hours ago, and so we're cleaning things up, or whatever the case may be, right? Problem is, one of the women that lived in the building took care of the homeless man and said 5-10 minutes ago she fed him. But she also mentions in the video that the police took him away, so odds are he already is dead. And yes, there is a connection between 5G and COVID-19 now. Check this out. And I got some links about this in some of the older blogs. Like, if you look through these links, these are all actual. And by the way, if some of them are videos, they might like this. Let me try it. It might come up blocked. Oh, no. Like if it's on a separate site, like Breitbart or something like that. But if it's a YouTube video and you click it and it comes up blocked, just right-click it and then hit open new tab or open up a new window, because YouTube doesn't like opening up videos inside frames, because that's what this is. This is my website, my main site. And this right here is my blog is in this frame. See, my blog's actually, let me just go there. It's just Nicholas, POGM .blog. And you go there and there's the blog. But I don't want the blog out there, hanging out on its own. So I put it inside my website. But a lot of people that, subscribe to the blog or whatever, or follow it, probably never go to my site, for the most part, unless they need some research. But yeah, somewhere in these links you'll find information in regards to the 5G. Where I put a video up of a woman, a doctor, in fact, a natural doctor, not these fake doctors that pump you full of drugs and stuff. But she was talking about how they found that 5G, like for example, in Wuhan, China, that small city has 130,000 5G antennas. Okay? Now that's all well and good for great internet. The reason they got to have so many of them is because I mean, what's his face? Linus Tech Tips. I like this guy. He's a brainiac when it comes to technology with computers. So I like to watch him a lot. And he actually did a thing on it showing how the 5G is really great unless you step behind a wall. And he literally showed it. He's on camera. He's doing a speed test, and he stands out there. And you can see the 5G antenna on a building next to him, right? So he's standing there. And 5G, I guess, when it's just running normally for internet, it's not that bad for you. I guess it is bad for you, but not like they can crank it, though, because that's what they did in Wuhan. And so he stands out there in the middle of nowhere, and he's downloading at like 100 meg, right? He steps behind the wall, and it's bam, it's just garbage internet then. It's useless. And so, well, not that bad, but it's really considerably slower, right? And so that's why they got to have so many antennas, because of the building structures and stuff like that. But here's the problem. It can be used as a weapon. They can crank up the frequency, and they can just make it just blanket the whole city. And that's what happened in Wuhan. This is what they're assuming, because this doctor showed, she says, if you got the flu, you can have a wet cough. All these people had dry coughs because 5G removes oxygen from the bloodstream. And so they faint, or they're coughing, and it's a dry cough, and then they go, oh, it's a pandemic, or actually it's a planned-demic. And so they just act like everybody's getting sick. And the people were sick. They didn't know what it was. And so some of them, obviously, they gave them they gave them vaccines or whatever, and some of them died, obviously, because there was a preacher. I didn't put him on the site because of certain reasons, but he was talking about how the coronavirus it's in the symptoms. The symptoms are not the coronavirus. The vaccine is. Okay, the symptoms are 5G poisoning, but still, COVID-19, the COVID-19, that is a legitimate virus, like a cold or something, or a flu, but it's nowhere near as bad as the regular flu. For example, like up to this point now, we're probably hitting at 24,000 people dead from the regular flu, whereas the corona, they're saying 4,000 people are dead, right? Because that can be manufactured. Because I'm still asking people. As a matter of fact, one of my daughters was here today, and she works in a hospital in a city, and she doesn't know anybody that's got the virus. I know thousands of people all over the world. You'd think somebody would have emailed me that they have a virus, or they know somebody that does, and so yeah, and then I put up a community blog entry and asked everybody to tell me, have you seen anybody? And I checked it today. It was at 95%, or no, 96. It was at 98 for the longest time. Then it was 97. Now it's 96. But that shows me that there are trolls on there. They're going to say what they're going to say. But this one here, I wanted to show you this, because to say that the Christians are to blame for the crippling coronavirus, they're going to say the exact same thing when the climate change, when it's time to enforce the mark. And the reason you got all the tanks and stuff like that all separated all over the United States, as well as other nations probably, we just know what we're seeing here. That's why I made that one video where I showed all the tanks. And I can't remember which one it was. And it wasn't that one. Could have been this one here, global compliance with all the tanks. But anyway, could you imagine what the American people would do, especially the militia in this nation, if they saw a bunch of tanks moving around on our soil, going across on the trains and stuff? They get a little upset. But if everybody thinks there's a pandemic going on, they're going to think, hey, this is good. They're doing this to help us, to prevent some kind of, riots.
Oh, she's got a 5G tower behind her. Her
Yeah.
skin feels like it's on fire.
Oh, that's not
Remember
good.
them kids in the school?
Yeah.
They were getting brain cancer. It was on the news last year.
Yeah,
It was right there by the playground.
the parents insisted to get the 5G antenna away from the school, and they did. They finally did.
No, they didn't.
No, they did.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they got it away.
It's like over
The teachers were fighting it for the longest time, but yeah, the parents finally won. But they
kids were getting brain cancer and
all sorts of cancers. Yeah, this is just, it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's part of the the Georgia Guidestones, where they want to try to get people's the population down. But the thing is, the climate change thing is what's prophesied. That's what they'll use to make everybody think that you got to keep religious laws. You got to keep Sunday holy, because every time you look at the mark of the beast in the prophecies in Revelation, every time you see the mark of the beast mentioned, or the image of that beast, you always see the word worship right there with it. So for a fact that the mark of the beast is a religious law. Well, the Vatican's already stated twice that their mark is Sunday, Sabbath, because there isn't a Bible verse from Genesis to Revelation to back up the fact that the Sabbath was ever changed. But the prophecy in Daniel 7, verse 25 says they'll think to change times and laws. And so, yeah, that's just part of many, many, many different prophecies that expose the Antichrist. Roman Catholic popes and the prelates. The last time we got together on the stream like this, that's what I did. I just showed 26 of my favorite prophecies. You just go to the RCC Exposed section of the site. I don't know why it's not showing up, but there it goes. And then scroll down to Antichrist, and then click Character of Antichrist. And that's where we were at the other day. I was just going through this list. Some of them are on videos. Those are just summary videos that Pastor Craig did. And the audios are sermons I did in regards to each or a couple of the prophecies, because some of the prophecies are so easily, described. It's not that hard. But getting back to this Christian thing, they're going to blame the Christians that the calamities in the world are happening really bad. Earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, whatever. They're going to blame the Christians because they're going to say the only, in other words, when they start enforcing the mark, they're going to say you can't buy and sell unless you agree with the Roman mandate. And when the Roman mandate comes down, it'll be you got to keep Sunday holy. But the way they keep Sunday holy is not really a Sabbath. You can still go to the store, you can do this, but you got to go to church, right? And that's it. That's not a Sabbath. That's a convenience. The real Sabbath is not kept that way. You can't buy and sell on the Sabbath. You can't. There's a lot of things you can and cannot do on Sabbath. There's a lot of amazing things you can do on Sabbath too. I got a page on the website all about that too. So they're going to pass laws and say, in order to stop all these calamities, we have to get right with God. As a matter of fact, today I just got an article from somebody. I'm not going to go digging through my emails right now, but 700 pastors were praying with Trump today, all on a teleconference. So they're going to push religious law. As a matter of fact, if you just go to the site today and you go down to the religious law section of this blog entry right here, I'm going to show a couple of these articles here in a minute. But they're already pushing. As a matter of fact, they've been doing this for a while. If you just go to prophecy too, it would be in prophecy of today. Go all the way down to the bottom. Religious laws are coming. I've got, like here. I mean, I've done videos about this a while ago, and so. But if you scroll down here, these are all the articles that are where they're pushing religious laws. So if people think that I'm just talking out of my hat, says, well, then how come we got 276 articles in the course of like maybe 5 years I put this up, maybe 10? I think 5. Well, let me just look at this one here. Let me look at the date. The last one. When is this one? 2017. So 3 years. 276 articles. And I don't go looking for these articles. When I do my daily updates, I just scroll through what I go. And when I see a religious article, I put it in my religious laws page. Or if I see an article about the mark, I'll put it on the mark page. So on and so forth. So I don't go looking for these things. If I did, I know I'd find 10 times more. And so they're going to blame the Christians when the calamities go off the chart, but in order to make sure that they have the ability to enforce this law, they're going to have the tanks where they're at. They're going to have to make sure that there's no cash available. Did you see all the articles about? As a matter of fact, that's another page on my site, Prophecy of Today. Where is it? Cashless Society, right there. And I got 11 videos on this alone. The most recent one was the global compliance thing, where they're saying right now that your cash can have the virus on it. Really? Well, we've had cash in this nation for over 150, 200 years. So prophecy said that they're going to remove our ability to buy and sell. Well, if you got cash, they can't do that. So they have to make a digital dollar. And that's why I have a digital coin or the coin card or the Bitcoin page on my website to show everybody. But look at all the articles. I got 84 articles where they're talking. As a matter of fact, India is like 90% cashless now, and that's the biggest nation. And so, but I did a coin card video back in 2013 about this right here. And it really surprises me. Well, I'm getting, shadow banned, and so it's obvious that the numbers are down in the videos. But and so this is why you see what's going on. They're just making sure all their ducks are in a row so that when it's time to enforce the mark, they're going to have all the tools that they need. And this is why I put up the article the other day. If you go to the prophecy section, prophecy soon fulfilled, I think it's in. Yep, New World Order. I put up, I think it's, this one here, One World Government by 2030. The United Nations leader said on camera they are going to have it by 2030. There's other pretty interesting things in regards to that prophecy. And if you go to my false prophecies page, the secret rapture thing, and you go to that, because there is no secret rapture. You're not going to have 7 years of tribulation. You're not going to have 7 nanoseconds. That's all a twist on Daniel's prophecy about the week of Daniel. They did that because the Vatican knew they had to hide the fact that the Roman Catholic Church killed over 500 million people during a 1,260-year period of time. And so to prevent the people from knowing that, they had to take that prophecy of Daniel and put it at the end of the world to say, oh, the Antichrist comes at the end of the world. No. The Apostle John said in the book of 1 John, Antichrist's spirit was already on the planet in his day, 2,000 years ago. So anyway, I got all of the stuff here. But if you go to the Good Samaritan, I go into a little bit of detail in regards to what time it really is. Okay, it was 2,000 years from creation to Abraham, 2,000 years from Abraham to Christ, and then 2,000 years from Christ to our day. All right? And then look at the parable of the Good Samaritan. I got it, where did I put it? The Good Samaritan parable. Oh, here it is, right here, in Luke chapter 10, verses 30 to 35. And I still didn't fix it. Oh, my. There's a couple of things I wanted to add to, because there's a lot of prophetic statements that Jesus makes in this parable about what's going to happen in our day. All right? And so, but there's plenty right there. I don't know, what is there, like 7 or 8 right there? But anyway, I want to get through a couple of more of these articles. That we already did that one. So let me knock it out. Now, here's where your religious laws are going to start. They're really going to start beefing it up. They're getting everybody as scared as they can, so they start crying out to God, right? Even though nobody's really walking with them anyway. I mean, it's Catholic Christianity is what it is. As a matter of fact, this was planned by the Vatican a long time ago. You go to my warning section, go to the words of a beast, and go to, let's see, which one would it be? Power over all governments. Look what the Vatican says here. And these are just a few articles and statements from the Vatican that I've had. Pastor Craig just sent me a bunch more I got to add to here. He sent it to me about a month ago. But let me just see. It says right here, George Washington said this as president. He said, if the liberties of the American... It's right here I'm reading. He said, no, right there. He said, if the liberties of the American people are ever destroyed, they will fall by the hand of the Roman Catholic cult's clergy. See, they didn't have any. The president talking didn't have any problem calling it a cult back then, because he knew the definition of a cult. As a matter of fact, if you go to RCC Exposed, go down to I don't know where I put it. Catholic Doctrine, maybe. Yeah, Catholic Doctrine. 6 Signs of a Cult. I got a fake Christianity video, the cherry on top page, and then of course I condensed this 6 Signs of a Cult into an actual video where it's, every single solitary sign that has to do with what a cult is, the Roman Catholic Church embraces it. And so where did we leave off here? Oh, Words of a Beast. I want to show another one here, because I know there's... here it is. Democracy, or this one right here. Democracy is a mischievous dream where the Catholic Church does not predominate. All right, and in 1937 they said there is one and only one sure democracy, the Catholicism of the popes. And they said that in 37, which is 8 years after they finally got their church and state back to them, because the prophecy stated that this is the beast that was, is not, yet is. Well, yet is 1929. The beast that was is from 538 AD to 1798 AD, when Napoleon knocked him out of business. And then from 1798 to 1929, that's the beast that is not. But the beast that is, yet is, that's from 1929 to our day. And so they're only 8 years into it when they got when the mortal wound was starting to heal. And they're already saying that, they're flexing their muscles then. Check out what the Catholic World said in 1935, 2 years prior. He says, some dwell on the vastly increased tolerance shown in this country now to Catholics and Catholic thugs. And there was one here. Oh, here, look at this. And they keep talking about religious freedom. in the news. This is their definition of religious freedom. Where do they put it? Oh, here it is. This one here, this is from the Shepherd of the Valley Journal, the late Bishop of St. Louis, a Roman Catholic. He says, if Catholics ever gain sufficient numerical majority in this country, religious freedom is at an end. So our enemies say, so we believe. Because they know what they're doing. They have political, chutzpah. They could do it. Check this out. In the book Confusion Twice Confounded by Monsignor, which is pastor in the Latin language, Joseph H. Brady, that's a Roman Catholic pastor priest, he says that the U.S. Supreme Court is wrong in the decisions regarding the separation of church and state. He says a sound view of the Constitution and its relation to religion probably awaits a change in personnel in our highest tribunal. Now, let me just jump out of there for a minute for those of you that don't think Ellen White's a prophet. Okay, let me go to the Ellen White page. Was she a prophet? Now, these are statements so far that I found. There's a lot more than these, but I found 34 separate statements from her that she said will happen that you're not going to find in Scripture. These are prophetic events these are statements that she prophesied that you don't find in Scripture, but now you do find in historic record and in modern days. And so what was I talking about? Do you remember what it was? It wasn't the cashless thing, because we were here somewhere digging in one of the... Oh, yeah. The Constitution. That's what it was. Okay, is this... No. Oh, here it is. Constitution. So if you go to constitutional... Well, no, I'm just going to go start with the USA will do away with the Constitution. That's what she said. Over 150 years ago, she said this. All right? And she says, our country shall repudiate every principle of its Constitution. That's what it says here. Okay? Look at how many articles I've got where they're talking about dumping the Constitution. 47 of them. Okay? And the most recent one was New Jersey suspended the Second Amendment. And they got sued for it, but they didn't stop suspending it. Think about that. The people are going nuts because of this so-called pandemic, right? And some of them want to defend themselves. So they go out and try to buy guns. They can't. They cannot buy a gun. It's illegal now to buy a gun in New Jersey. They suspended the Constitution right there. And then the Department of Justice wants to suspend certain constitutional rights during coronavirus emergency. I don't know when that came out. Let me just see. When did this one come out? Is there a date? March 21st. That's when this one came out. There's your date right there. So it's all happening just like the prophecies said it would. Okay, there's that one. Seriously, you guys need to take a look at this video. Let me put the link. I don't know if I could put this link in the stream. Yeah, okay, when you get a chance, just copy that link. Watch this 13-minute video. The news is saying the hospitals are overwhelmed. There's only standing room only in the waiting rooms. There's just people standing in line outside to get into the hospitals. And so the people that lived in those neighborhoods of those hospitals go to the hospitals with their cameras. Nobody's there. It's all political theater. That's all it is. And everybody's believing it. Well, the sheeple. And the sheeple's not an insulting term. Look it up. It's in the dictionary. It means people that will follow it's like a herd mentality kind of a thing. They'll believe anything that people tell them. All right, let me find another one here. Let's see. John Paul II revived the Inquisition, by the way. He just changed the name to the Holy Office when he was alive. I'm going to find that one. Well, anyway, let me read you this one real quick here. This is encyclical of Pope Leo XIII. He said, the Catholics must penetrate wherever possible in the administration of civil affairs. All Catholics should do all in their power to cause the constitutions of states and legislations to be modeled on the principles of the true church. And it's not even a church, according to the Bible. 86.2% of Roman Catholicism. And I know this. I taught it. 7 years ago, I taught Roman Catholicism. I know for a fact it's paganism. 86.2% of their doctrine is found in paganism. All right, and let me let's see here. We're going to try to find that other one here. Reagan actually put an ambassador, first one ever. Reagan and the Pope worked together to cause Russia to fall. But Reagan, he said, one of his cabinet members said, when they asked him, why did you put an ambassador in the Vatican of all places? And he said, it would allow the USA to influence the political decisions of the Roman Catholic Church. When in fact, it's the actual opposite. The Catholic Church influences the United States. But the prophecy does say we give our strength, because the Vatican doesn't have like a military or anything like that. But who can make war with the beast, right? That's what it says in Revelation. And the reason for that is, my last count was 175 nations out of 215, I think there were. 175 nations are in agreement with the Vatican. You can't make war with that many allies, with a person like that. Soon, though, it's going to burn anyway. The Lord will, of course, and the people that are connected with them are going to weep. So let's see, where's this one? It had something to say, it was saying that the Roman Catholic Church, the United States will become a Roman Catholic empire. Oh, let's see. Oh, well. If you ever want to look it up, just go on my page. It is on this page somewhere, but I'm not going to go digging through it right now. Let me close this out, that one out. I'll leave that up for now, but now check. Okay, now this is part of the religious law thing. They're doing you got to do this, Christianity, or whether it's Catholicism or the so-called Protestantism. But look at this. This is on MSNBC. This is T.D. Jakes, by the way, prosperity preacher. He has nothing to do with Christianity, all to do with money. And this reporter asks him on camera to pray. And he did. Okay? And this is MSNBC. This is just like CNN or all the other fake newses. I mean, they're pushing this narrative. That's all they're doing. And then again, this one article came out today too. Coronavirus sends huge number of Americans to their knees in prayer. What they're doing is they're pushing the narrative so that when they go to enforce the mark, which is a religious law, it's going to be a piece of cake, and the people that refuse to keep Sunday holy aren't going to be able to buy and sell, right? And then because they passed the laws and said that you can't buy and sell, and they say you have to keep Sunday holy, which is totally against the Bible. When they do that, the calamities are going to get 10 times worse because the plagues are starting, right? So it's going to get really bad, and then they're going to want to kill. Or the plagues are about to start, and they're going forward to kill. And so they put up the death sentence, and so that anybody that refuses to keep Sunday holy will be killed. But during the buy and sell, a lot of people are going to fall for that because they don't want to lose their candy bars or cars or their jobs, and so they'll get the mark. Well, but it's not a digital chip. It's not a tattoo. The mark is a decision, just like it was in Esther's day or Daniel's day or Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego's day. The devil always used the commandments as a way to attack the people of God at that time. And he never used commandment number 4 because that was his ace up his sleeve. That's the one he was waiting for the last days, because that's the one that makes people worship him over the Creator. Because the Creator, when he was done creating in Creation Week, he stopped and rested on the 7th day and kept it holy. He sanctified it. And Satan knows that. And so when he did that, when we keep the 7th day holy, we acknowledge the Creator, and Satan doesn't want us to. And so what he does is he creates his own Sabbath. As a matter of fact, the Vatican even admitted they changed the Sabbath. Let me go here. Let's see, Catholic doctrine, Antichrist, changing times and laws. They actually stated here in writing. As a matter of fact, they put out a pamphlet. Let me see. Here, this first one here might be it. This is a letter from the Catholic Church where they admit they changed the Sabbath. There's not a single Bible verse to back it up anywhere. But there is here it is, Catholic. The Romans challenged the Protestants. I remember I got this one when I was a young man. Somebody gave it to me, and I couldn't believe what I was reading. I was still Catholic at the time, and I thought, well, this is a bit pushy. But, they literally admit that they created the Sunday Sabbath. As a matter of fact, Christians were keeping the Sabbath, the 7th-day Sabbath, all the way up until 321 AD, until Constantine changed it to Sunday because they wanted to bring the pagans into the church. And you can see this happening again with the Seventh-day Adventist Church. The Seventh-day Adventist Church said the exact same thing Constantine did in his day. When they were asked why they have dozens and dozens of Sunday-keeping churches in the SDA Church, their response was, well, it helps us to bring in the Sunday keepers. To bring them in. It brings the people into the church that believe Sunday, and then we can talk to them. Now, how well did that work for Constantine? That's not how it works. You don't keep the day holy for the pagans to try to schmooze them. No, that's not how Christianity works. You can't base your theology on a lie to get them to believe the truth. No, but that's what they're doing in the SDA Church. So, all right, let me get to this. See, I had a few more. Oh, look at it. Here's your free speech. And I got a page that's, it's probably well over 15 years old now. If you go to the Antichrist section and Rome's war on free speech, I just put one on here yesterday. Okay, here it is. How many do I have, though, just out of giggles? 570 of them. 570 articles showing that they're doing everything they can to remove free speech, like they did on Twitter. And what they did here was if you mention coronavirus on Twitter, they just delete it because they know there's a ton of people out there that ain't falling for this fall draw. They know when they go to the hospitals, they're empty. They know that they don't know anybody that has the virus. They know it's all just political theater. And so, but where is it? Free speech, yeah. But so I have a bunch of, let's see, YouTube isn't bound by the First Amendment. Well, that's because they're a private company, so that's really a no-brainer. But, and then they started banning jokes. I don't know when I put this one up. Let's see, it was in March, because if you look at the URL, it says March as I float over it. I don't know if you can see. No, you can't. That stuff doesn't show up on your end. So, but yeah, there's a ton of things where they're doing everything they can to, like when they blocked our church stream for a week and all this, they're pulling my videos. As a matter of fact, I got this banned by YouTube section. You click it, and it brings you to the videos they pulled. Like the Vegas shooting was a media blitz. You wouldn't believe the information I put in that video. They pulled it. Fake fear. You got Black Lives Matter and the KKK rioters coming up to an area where there's going to be a riot, and they're all on the same bus. It was planned, all right? And so they pulled that video from me. And then Muslims demand Sharia law and demand Christians must die in the USA. Well, they pulled that video. And then this one here, years ago, this is why I stopped putting videos on YouTube back when I first started. I think I had like 3,000 or 4,000 subscribers, and then YouTube pulled 3 of my videos about the Roman Catholic Church because they made a commercial, and the commercial was like 5 minutes long. So it took me 3 videos to do it, because back then you could only do 10-minute videos or 15-minute videos, I think it was, with YouTube. And so what I did was I split it up, and they took all 3 down because the Catholic Church complained. And so I stopped making videos for like 3-4 years. And so I'll see you later, Brother Matthew. All right. And let's see, U.S. And here it is. This one here, we couldn't do a church stream for, for a week. And then I almost had 30,000 subscribers at this time, and I put out a poll, and only 182 people saw it in the course of 3 days. So they're doing. Oh, and here, this one here, this last one, I got a few more. I never had the time to put them up here. But like, for example, the one that they said was banned in certain nations. Well, I found out now it's banned in all the nations, where I show Nazis saluting the Pope, and then Muslims. I'll show you the pictures, but Muslims saluting the Pope too. Boy, they yanked that one, because they said, well, first they said they only banned it in Germany and Israel to stop political unrest. I says, well, okay, that's understandable, but you shouldn't do it. Free speech, I'm in America. So they pulled it anyway, right? But here, this Catholic priest slaps the baby on camera. It's an old video. It was 2 or 3 years old, and so YouTube pulled it, saying, it's violent. You can't do that. It was inappropriate content. So they pulled it, right? So for 20 minutes, I decided I'm going to look around. I did a blog entry on this. I'm going to go to the blog entry real quick here. All right. So they censored me. Right here are all the links for 16 or 17, or I don't remember how many. I think it's probably around 20 videos that had the exact same priest slapping the baby. But let's just see. Let me try this one. I'll open in a new tab, because I don't know if I locked them up. Yep, still up. Video's still there. All right. It hasn't been yanked. Let me just see if you get to the guy. Yep, there it is. Same video. And so they never pulled these, but they pulled mine. Because I'm a Christian. And, maybe the others weren't. Well, that other one looked like a Christian site. And, I wanted to show you the, let me see. I got to go to the top, get to my menu thing. RCC Expose, horrific. I'm looking for, there it is. It's on here. And the Salute of Rome. And I got this in a video as well. I think this was the video that the Germany thing, yeah, they got up in our. Look at this. This is in America. America. This is before Hitler. And why are they saluting like Hitler? You know, because I mean, look at the way Hitler salutes. Okay, that's how he salutes. It's because the Roman soldiers. Look at the middle picture. The middle picture is an ancient painting of how Roman soldiers salute. That's why Hitler did that. He's Roman Catholic. He's a Roman Catholic emperor. Now here you've got Islam doing it, saluting the Pope. Here you got Ratzinger. Ratzinger's on the right here. I can't remember who that guy is. Look at all these Catholic priests saluting Hitler as he comes up. Look at all. Then of course these are all. But here's again. This is the Palestinian salute here. This is Hezbollah saluting, and this is the Muslim Brotherhood saluting. And that's why they pulled my video, because I was showing, you know, everybody was, you know, in bed with Rome, and they don't like that stuff to be putting it out there. Okay, so let me look at a couple of more articles here, then I'm going to shut it down, because I don't know how long have we been on here. I don't even know how long. I should have been recording it on my end, and I would have a time. If you have any questions, you know, I'll stop here in a minute. I can answer questions if you like, because my wife suggested I should do that. So let me get some of these out. And okay, here. Now this is, again, just go to my blog, nicholaspogm.blog, and check out this video. I just put it in today. Breaking news. You need to see this video. All hospitals are empty, right? And there's a bunch of links in here as I'm talking about this topic about, you know, the Pope is declaring himself to be a moral authority. I did a radio thing, and then in 2009 I did a newsletter on this about him claiming this in 2009. Well, now that we're in the hype of this pandemic, now he's getting everybody with their guard down, and he's flexing. You should see the video. He's acting like a Hollywood actor. He's just walking this thing down, and they're taking a picture of or a video of him doing it. Like maybe the camera's like 100 feet above his head, and they're zooming in, and it's just so obvious. It's all, you know. I mean, why would there be a camera there? I mean, think about this. If he wasn't using lies, they would by chance catch him walking, but it was all done purposely. He says, okay, you got to go and walk over here. We'll be up here with the camera. That's fiction. But then again, he is a man of sin. And he's a Jesuit on top of it, which is much, much worse. And so what I do is I show how, if he's the moral authority, and these I never linked out because these were articles I had on my site over the years, and the links got broken because there was a few pages that got hacked many years ago. And so those links got broken. But if you just go like this, you copy it, and then you stick it in, you know, your favorite search engine like DuckDuckGo or something, or Yippee. Don't use Google unless of course it's trivial stuff. But Google, yeah, they're sniffing everything. And so, but anyway, let me just look here. You got the free speech thing. Religious laws are coming. I already showed you all those. Now here's where Rome's taking advantage. This is why I titled it, Using Coronavirus Hype to Rome's Advantage. And so I'm just going to read these headlines, and you'll understand it just by reading the headlines. There's another legal coronavirus jailbreak because the California governor, Gavin Newsom, commuted the sentences of 14 convicted killers. They're back on the streets. Sounds like anarchy, doesn't it? They're trying to push for, you know, like civil war. So, as a matter of fact, if you go to that Ellen White page again on my site and look at what she said, she says civil war will happen again in the United States. And she says she saw in vision where the store shelves were empty. I'm not kidding you. I'll show you the link in a minute. Sex offenders who raped minors being released in coronavirus response. Florida will check New York drivers at state line of I-95. Yeah, that's martial law. You know, show me your papers. As a matter of fact, we can't go to these little towns near here without papers in our car. Talk of GPS tracking Americans. You won't believe what the Dems are stuff. Oh, yeah, just read. That's disgusting what they're trying to put into the bill. Department of Defense isolating critical troops and commanders to be ready in a crisis amid pandemic. You know, in other words, they're going to get ready to start forcing martial law. Hungary's. Oh, and by the way, there was, and I've got a few emails from people. I don't remember who they are. See, this is why I don't put certain things on my website. When somebody says, you know, I have a friend that works in the military, or one guy gave me a call and says, you know, I got a friend, and I love him like a son, And I trust him 100%. And he said that his friend who is in the military told him, and they're all more or less saying the same thing. 3 people told me this. Martial law was going to start on April 1st. See, I don't put stuff like that on my site. And so, though, as a matter of fact, it's April 2nd, according to the Bible. The sun's down, so it's not even April 1st anymore. So they were wrong. And so I can't put stuff like on there. And I'm just letting people know in advance. If you don't have rock hard, linked out evidence, I won't put it on the site. And then this next one, Hungary's Orban keeps sweeping new powers in virus fight. Orban, I guess, is their like title for president or something like that. UK could be in coronavirus on and off lockdown for a year. And then the UK government set to release app that tracks contacts of coronavirus patients, and that's easy, just by putting it on your cell phone. The U.S. has a long history of using, that's another one, using crises to justify indefinite mass detention. Let's see. And then the cell phone data map reveals which Americans are ignoring quarantine. They're tracking everybody. As a matter of fact, I saw a video a year or so ago where a guy said that he walked through a town, then he got in his car, then he got in a cab, and then he went up a building and did all this, just goofing around. He had 2 phones in his pocket. One was on, one was off. And they're both Androids, right? And what he found was both of them tracked him, even though one of them was off. See, that's why you can't get the batteries out of your phones anymore. Remember, you used to be able to take the batteries out? All right, so now look at this. Coronavirus exposed. And I have this section every week. You'll always see a coronavirus exposed. My mistake. I put another video there. But there's always in there something about coronavirus being exposed. I got probably over 100 articles now. Arizona lists golf as an essential activity. Hey, I thought this was a lockdown. I thought you weren't supposed to be out. As a matter of fact, the other day I saw a video where a man was surfing. There wasn't a human for miles, right? And he's out there on the water by himself, and then 2 cops come up on horseback telling him to get off and get in his house because he could spread the virus. To who? The fish? Because there's nobody out there. All right, let's see. CBS. Oh, hey, did you see that? I'm sure everybody saw this one. CBS used a fake COVID video. They showed New York. They said it was New York hospital footage when in fact it was Italy. It was Italy, and they got caught. Somebody put both the New York newscast and then the Italy newscast on the same screen and showed it was the exact same. Right? I mean, everything was the exact same. So it was obvious that they faked it, and so that's why the hospitals are empty. They can't. It was all planned. As a matter of fact, a few months after the Pope has his little conversation with China, we saw this happening. So, yeah, look out for the fish. All right, so, and then CBS News admits using chaotic. Oh, they admitted it there. So, and then why ABC liquor stores are considered essential. That'll make you laugh, that article, but that's what the way it is. Let's see, where's this next one here? A coronavirus harbinger to the climate change lockdown. And see, this is what we've been preaching for years. As a matter of fact, if you just go to Prophecy of Today, and then scroll down to where it says climate change and the mark. And those of you that subscribe to me, you know for a fact that I have a few videos in this area alone, all right? We have all sorts of evidence. I mean, well over 100 years worth of evidence to say that they're going to use. It's just like with this girl right here, that Greta. She was working for Rome. He's even covering up her eye, doing that thing with the 666 with the eye thing. And so, yeah, it's just all so obvious. But what it does is it vindicates us. It vindicates our message. It makes everybody realize that, hey, those nutty Christians that I talked to 10 years ago, those things they said that were going to happen, they're happening now. And so they stop laughing. Problem is they haven't been calling yet. So some of them have, though. Praise the Lord. I've noticed that. Like when the Twin Towers went down, I actually started getting phone calls from people I'd never thought I'd hear from again. Because they know I teach prophecy, and so they want to know, what does this mean? And so praise the Lord. Everything was, this stuff actually helps to vindicate the truth as well as calm the hearts of the people that study prophecy. Because when you see this, when you see all this stuff happening and the Lord told you it was going to happen, say 20 or 30 years ago, and now you see it happening in your own lifetime, it makes you get excited, but at the same time sad. The excitement is, I'm almost home. He's almost here. He's coming soon. The sad part is, man, I got a lot of loved ones and they don't believe a thing I say. And so it's not easy. But yeah, the climate change thing here is I've got, look at this one, kill people to save the planet. I couldn't believe that one. A UK professor actually said that. But I got, a bunch of articles here, but let me just see where here's some of the crazy excuses for 63 of them. The most recent one, of course, was nightingales' wings are shorter now because of climate change. The first one I think was my funniest down here. Yeah, climate change causes suicide. Let me just pick one out of the middle here. All right, climate change remedies could spark a war. All right, here's this. Religious leaders join Pope on climate change. Well, that was a no-brainer. We knew that was going to happen. Let me see. There's some really funny ones. Oh, yeah, California targets dairy cows to combat global warming. And they keep calling it. Unbelievable. As for owning a gun, I don't think that would be, where's your faith? Is it in your ability to point the gun or your ability to trust your Lord? Like I said earlier, I get death threats, and that's why I don't go on camera. But if my wife and children were no longer around, I'd be on camera. Because come on, I used to hang out in biker bars before I was a Christian. So I don't scare easily. And I've had muzzles bounce off my forehead before. And so I've dealt with stuff like that. What concerns me about people that give you death threats is they're going to end up dying. That's how the Lord always handle it. If they want to destroy you financially, they get destroyed financially, and so on and so forth. I've seen his hand move so many times when people have come against me in whatever way they choose that I'd be a fool to put my faith in a gun, And I used to shoot stick for a living, so I can point really good. I can aim really, really well. And so, but again, that's neither here nor there. And some people say, well, the Lord told Peter that they could, those 2 knives. Well, if you look up the word knives that in that one Bible passage, it had nothing to do with weapons. As a matter of fact, when Peter cut off the guy's ear, the Lord told him, stop it. Those who live by the sword die by the sword. He put the guy's ear back on, which also proves he healed somebody that had a, what do they call that when you chop up? Amputated. Okay. Amputated. Because people say, oh, Jesus never healed an amputee. Really? Well, what about the ear that he put back on? So, but anyway, if you look up the word knives in that verse, it talks about for preparing food, cutting food and stuff like that. That's what those are for. And point is, 12 apostles, 2 knives, and Jesus said is enough? Because, yeah, that's all you're going to need in a kitchen. But if it was for warfare, 12 men, you better have 12 knives, right? So, but no, he didn't say that. And so let me find another one here. Let's see. Al Gore warns worst of climate change will be felt by black and poor people. And he's been caught so many times lying. He said that the polar ice cap would be totally melted and gone, and California would be underwater by 2016. Now, the reason they say stuff like that is because they're thinking they could get their ducks in a row before those dates, and then, it really wouldn't matter if it didn't come true or not, because they already got the powers that they were shooting for anyway. But let me see if there's any more here. Religious laws already did that. Oh yeah, and check this out. Obama literally said the coronavirus is all about climate change. And so there's your melding. This is what we've been saying for decades. The coronavirus is just like commandment number 1, 2, or 3. Now, some people go, what? Okay. When you look back in the prophecies, or you look in the book of Esther or in the book of Daniel, Satan used commandment 1, 2, and 3 to attack the people because he was going to keep commandment number 4 as the ace up his sleeve. He knew that's the one he was going to use in the last days to enforce the mark, because he knows what commandment number 4 is all about. It points to who you believe is to be the God that you should worship, the creator of all that is seen and unseen, or some guy in Rome, because that's literally what it's all about, because the guy in Rome, the Pope, made up that one prophecy or Sabbath, that fake Sabbath. But where did I leave off here? Okay, yeah, the thing with Obama. He dropped he said it all has to do with climate change. And then, again, I already give you the article about the crippling of they're blaming Christians for the coronavirus. 59 people died. So, did you see this? I couldn't believe this when I saw this. This pastor got people to drink something. They say it was bleach, but a brother in the faith told me it wasn't bleach. It was something. It's like an insecticide, he said. So, but I don't know. I think the article said bleach, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it says a household bleach. Oop. Stop. There we go. Right there, household. I'm not going to highlight it because if you do, it'll click you out. They hide links inside their pages like I do. Well, my only hidden link is right there. If you go to Presence of God and you float over that, it'll bring you to all the sermons. All right? Because I'm always referencing them, so I had to have a hidden link. So, yeah, but I don't want to. You can see it right there. It says a household bleach. And so that's. Because I don't know Dettol. I'm going to go by what the article says. So if they're wrong, that's their problem. Because if I change it, then someone tries to copy and paste this into Google or something, I'm going to say, oh, you made up the article. No, I'm leaving it as it is. And so, crazy climate, nightingale's wings, yeah. Night. So, but anyway, did anybody have any questions? Because I'm going to probably get off here now in a few minutes. Well, that all depends on the amount of questions, though, too. So, because I thought I saw a few questions in here earlier. Let me see here. Oh, and by the way, if you ever want to join us in while you're thinking of your questions for church on Sabbath day, you'll see a pop-up that says right here, well, Sabbath blessings, and click it, and it'll bring you to the chat room. Or you just click this guy here with the microphone in his face, and then you go here, all right? And then you just click join us, and then that'll bring you into the chat room. But this browser doesn't have flash. Well, it does, and I'm not going to turn it on right now. You just go into the chat room there. It's an audio-video conference room, but I don't use the video. Would you, let's see, would like me to download this video to use? Yeah, you can. Yeah, you could use it, Blue Fruit. Go for it. You can use it for whatever you want. And yeah, I know I can use an ad blocker, Blah software, or SoftWe or whatever it is. I have 3 or 4 browsers, and they all have ad blockers, but I leave the blocker off on Edge and another one. Because sometimes I go to some websites that say, oh, you got to turn off your ad blocker, otherwise you can't read our article. Well, I'm not subscribing to them, and I'm not yanking my ad blocker, so I just take their link and I put it into Edge, and I read the article. And that way I don't have to go through all that folderol. I just make sure I have a browser that doesn't have the ad blockers in it. So, but then that opens me up to malware, but I got some toys to stop that too, so. To stop the malware. And it does a scan on my computer every night as I'm sleeping. Okay, somebody did? Who? This guy? What are your thoughts of women pastors? You cannot. Well, let me get to him first. But where, Fran? Oh. I used to have a username and login. Do I need to sign up again? I tried logging in last night, but couldn't. Yeah. See, what I did is to keep the server clean, unclogged. I haven't done it in a while, but usually every 3 to 6 months I delete all the people that haven't shown up in a while, and I just look at the server and it shows me dates, and I just hit delete the pack. I don't know who's in there half the time, and so yeah, you'll have to just re-sign up, Mo. Not a problem. Well, it'd be good to see you again too, though, because I know you're one of the Posen group, right? When they all used to live near Posen, I think you're that brother, right? If I'm not mistaken. Oh, okay. Cool. Thanks. Then we'll see you on Sabbath. And Friday nights, too, we do it, 9 o'clock Eastern time. 8 o'clock Eastern time, I'm sorry. We stop at 9 o'clock. But what was I talking about there?
The women pastors.
Oh, yeah. Somebody asked about what do I think of women pastors. You find me one Bible verse that says it's okay, and I'll go for it, but there's not one. As a matter of fact, there is a Bible verse. Let me find it here for you. Oh, that's my email software. See, I don't think this will show up. I could have put, oops, I just shut it off. I'll just put usurp. All right, 1 Timothy chapter 2. It says in verse 12, but I suffer a woman not to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. Now, a lot of people take this one out of context, but there's 2 things being said here. Number 1, she can't usurp authority or stand as pastor because of what happened in the Garden of Eden. The man is the head of the house, not the woman. And we're not male chauvinist piglets. We're just saying it the way the Lord says it. He wrote the Bible, not us, okay? And then the other toss on that is some people say, oh, so a woman can't even talk at a church. Oh, no, yeah, they can even get on the pulpit and share their testimony or even teach, if they want the kids. But the thing is, what they don't realize, see, a lot of people do this, and Satan loves it when they do this. They take a Bible scripture and use it as if it's something that is viable today in regards to society. And what I mean is, back when the Christian church started, the men and the women were in the church. And these were home churches. Look in the book of Acts. They didn't have no big cathedrals. That's all paganism. And so they're in the same house, right? And sometimes if the house was big enough, they would have a bunch of chairs, and on half the room would be the men, and the other half of the room would be the women. They would separate them in that way, because in the synagogues, the women were never allowed in the synagogue. They were only outside the edges, and then the men were always in. And so the reason Peter said to keep silent in the church is because of the men were always the teachers in the family. And so they would teach the family the scripture. And so everybody, the whole family relied on the dad or the husband as to what the Bible said. And so now this is a brand new religion. It's called Christianity, first in Antioch, right? And that was a slander, but hey, we ran with it. It's fine. Well, we don't have a problem with people calling us Christians. And so they started meeting in the homes, which meant the women are right there with them. And so when the preacher, in this case Peter, would say something, Christianity was new to most of these people, and so was Judaism, because that's why a lot of people didn't even know who Jesus was when he showed up, because the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the scribes messed up theology so much most people didn't even know who Jesus was or why he was there. And so there was a lot of re-education going on, and so when they were in the church, when the Christian church started, they were teaching things that the women obviously and the men possibly never heard before. It was new light to them, even though it was old light. It's still in the scripture. It was just never taught. It's just like with anything else. It's like with the Sabbath of the Bible. There's not a Bible verse from Genesis to Revelation that says Sunday's the Sabbath. Not one. There's 6 that they twist out of context that I put back in context in the video on YouTube. Is Sunday the Sabbath? One of my videos. But yeah, there isn't any Bible verses, and so this happened a lot when they were sitting in the same room and certain theology was being presented that they never heard before, the women especially. And so the woman would ask her husband, is this true? Problem was, she's sitting on the other side of the room. And so she'd have to yell across the aisle to ask her husband, honey, what he just said, is that true? And that would distract and, quench the Holy Spirit. And, it would disrupt the meeting. It would stop the preacher from speaking because she just said louder than he was. And so that's why he told them to keep silent in the churches, because they didn't know how to handle themselves in a church anyway. They never were in a synagogue. And in the synagogue, you had respect unto the speaker. You would wait until he's done to say something. That's why they waited for Jesus to say something after the first time he read from the scroll. And so, but yeah, amen, Abe. Women are still, if women are used by God in amazing ways. Look at the book of Ruth or the book of Esther. Look at what Vashti did. A lot of people think she was a women's liberator. No, she was a godly woman. She didn't want to stand in front of the king because he was drunk, and so were his friends, and she thought that, yeah, they're going to commit adultery in their heart if they look at me. And so, but of course, everybody else was kind of messed up in their head. And so it's like a child seeing the sunlight. Yeah, amen to that. First time for seeing the sunlight for the first time. So, okay.
Right there.
What, 3:13?
Yeah.
All right. Let me go there. John 3:13. Okay. Now I did a study on this years ago, and Nicodemus, well, let me read you the verse. It says, and no man hath ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man, which is in heaven. And a lot of people think, whoa, that's a problem now, because we know Moses, after he died, the angel took him back up to heaven, and then Elijah, and then what about Enoch? So there's 3 people already up in heaven. So what's Jesus talking about here? Well, Nicodemus was having a hard time understanding Christ's words about heavenly things, because no man had ever been in heaven and then come to earth to speak about it. A few had gone to heaven like Enoch, Moses, and Elijah, but only Jesus came from there to speak of heavenly things. And so that's the reason Jesus said it that way to Nicodemus that night.
And then there's the other one.
Where? Lisa? Or Amber?
I think
Or Blue?
Lisa.
Lisa? So when Jesus was talking to some of the apostles and he said something like, some of you were here and not tasted death. Oh, yeah, we were just talking about that earlier. Yeah.
I told you that Lisa told me that question.
That's Matthew 17,
Someone
right?
was asking that question.
Yeah, hold on, let me go. I think it's Matthew 17. Okay, because I got my notes on this. I'm going to share with you the way I think I got my notes on this. What was it? Oh, no, I want to go with Matthew 16 first, because Matthew 17 finishes it. So let me go to... all right, what verse was it exactly, Lisa, that you're
It was
16:28. She gave it to me. Is that the one, 16:28? Verily, verily, thanks, SDR. Verily I say unto you, there are some standing here which shall not taste of death till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. Right? And people think, whoa, you mean John, Peter, James, and John are still alive? No, that's not what Jesus was saying. So let me go to the verse. Okay. That's, was that 28? Was that 28? Yeah, 28. That's what I thought. So, I think it's the last verse. Yeah, it is. So, verily I say unto you, there shall some be standing here which shall not taste death till they see the Son of Man coming. Go to the next chapter, you got your answer. Just literally go to the next chapter. It says this. In Matthew chapter 17, verse 1, it says, and after 6 days Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John, his brother, and bringeth them up into a high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment as white as the light. And behold, there appeared unto him Moses and Elijah talking with him. So right there answers your question. And some people are going, well, how? Jesus is standing there in glorified form as he will when he splits the eastern sky. But why is Moses there? And why is Elijah there? Well, Moses is there to represent the dead in Christ that shall rise at the second coming. Elijah, he's there to represent the Gideon band who never die. They'll just be changed in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, as the Seventh-day Adventists are actually bowing before our feet. As a matter, I just read that earlier today in Sister White's writings about the Adventists that will be bowing before the feet of the 144,000 in worship, because they refused to leave apostasy, and their minds got so messed up on that because of that. And so, but would John's revelation count as well for John? Could you I have no idea what you're talking about there. Are we supposed to take his spoken word as he spoke it, not man's interpretation? Yeah, you can't. You see, 2 Peter 1:20. No prophecy of the scriptures of any private interpretation. So you have to let the Bible define itself. That's why I did this study many years ago. I go to the prophecy section, go down to prophecy study tools. It's the first link, symbols of revelation. On here, if you print this out, it's going to be over 327 pages, 8.5 by 11. All right? If you want to go to chapter 1, click 1, and it'll show you every single solitary symbol in that chapter as they're defined in all the other 65 books. But Revelation does define some of its own symbols, so all 66 books are involved. But say you want to look up woman. Go to the W, click W, and then go for the woman and click. Boy, it took me forever to link this out, I got to tell you. Woman, all right? And then here, woman equals the church. And here's all the Bible verses that back it up. And not only do I show the verses, I underline where the definition is. Literally, this took over 3 years to do, that one page.
Okay, so he rewrote his question. When John saw the second coming.
In vision, in Revelation, does that count as seeing the Son of Man in glory? Yeah, it's vision, yeah.
Does that vision count for him too? Is that also that revelation?
Second coming in vision. Wow, I never thought of it that way. That's a good one, Samuel. Yeah, then he gets to see him twice, because unless, of course, John, the brother of Jesus, was the one in there on the mount. But John the apostle was the one that saw him in Revelation. So yeah, so he got John and Jesus had a pretty tight relationship. I mean, he told John to take care of his mom after he died. So, but yeah, that's a good one. So then, yeah, John got to see it twice. Because he did see Jesus coming in his glory, but in a whole different description, 22 chapters worth, chapters worth of description. But that's a good way of looking at it. Fourth seal, Revelation 6, it talks about an epidemic, pandemic. So, okay. All right. When he told the Pharisees they would see the Son of Man coming in the clouds, who was he speaking to? When he told the Pharisees. He was talking to the Pharisees. That's who he's speaking to. And the reason they said blasphemy, because they knew of the prophecy about Messiah coming in the clouds. And so that's why and when the high priest rent his clothing, he was literally standing there as Antichrist. That's why John said the spirit of Antichrist was already there. Because the high priest, the garments, we're doing a study right now in the church family on Sabbath days in our audio conference room on the website. And we've been studying sanctuary for 2 years and 2 weeks now. And we've probably got another year left. And the robe, all that is on the high priest, from his head to his bare feet, everything that he does when he goes into that most holy place represents the perfection of Jesus Christ. And if there's anything that's imperfect, he drops dead inside the most holy place. That's why they would put a rope around his ankle and he'd drag his dead body out if it happened, but it never did, from what I understand. And that's why the bells around the bottom of his robe, the pomegranate and the bell and the pomegranate and the bell and all that stuff. And so, and the pomegranate is the seeds. It represents the Bible, because the pomegranates have all those seeds, and seeds are truth or scripture or whatever. And so, but yeah, so when he rent the clothing, he was soiling the robe, and the robe is the walk in prophecy. That's why a lot of you have dreams about walking around in your underwear. And so you're not walking right, and the Lord's trying to tell you that. And so the robe in prophecy is your walk. And so when him ripping that robe, he soiled the image of that he stood there to stand. See, that's why homosexuality is such a bad sin. It's an abomination, in fact, because man was created in the image of God. And since man's created in the image of God, when he does these things with his own body or with another man, that makes God look really bad, because that man was created in the image of his God. No matter what, no matter how, even if the atheists don't believe in him, it doesn't matter. When that eastern sky splits, it's just not going to matter. It's buffering.
Yeah, I see.
Let's stop. Good. I'm going at 850. Let's see what I'm doing at 854 by 480. So I knocked it way down. And so, yeah, by the way, okay, Anthony just said it was buffering for him too. So it just buffered for me for about 5 seconds. Anthony, are you good now? Should we make it something else, or as he spoke it? Oh, well, I really don't know what you're saying there. I'm trying to keep track of everybody else of what they're saying. Yeah, I know I saw 73 here in the middle ago. The other night we had 82. It jumped up to 92 in the analytics, but then it dropped back down to 82. So I think it was a pretty good accurate number on Tuesday night. I think we did this, and we had 82 families in here. And so you're good now? Yeah, I know it's 53 on my side, Blue Fruit. Boy, I wish you guys would use your real names. So how you doing there, Blue? It's just like Big Pig Slapper, oink. So how you doing, Big Pig Slapper, oink? Yeah, it's hard to say names like that. It's just funny, though. Some of the names are really original. I mean, like Big Pig Slapper. That's a pretty original name. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. I mean, he's not going to go slap the baby pigs. He's going to slap the big ones. But that's funny. But yeah, just call Blue. Oh, it's Caleb.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
I thought you knew that.
Yeah, I knew. Yeah, because he did all the blue graphics. Yeah, he's got the blue apple or something. Yeah, he does all these neat graphics. They're always blue. Favorite color too, by the way, bro. So what were you asking there, Big Pig Slapper? What were you, or should I just call you Oink? I'll be honest, I feel like reading and looking at all this stuff. I'm way behind to understand. Well, stop by Marlene. Just go to Remnant of God. Let me show you the main page. Just go to remnantofgod.org. Don't print it out. You'll have to get over 15,000 sheets of paper. I've been doing this for a while. As a matter of fact, when I put the site up the first time, it was already over 300 pages. Back when it was dial-up days, because I did a lot of research before we did the internet. Because the Lord was just planning it, I guess. So God says, be truthful, and why don't people use their real names? Yeah. I just don't. I do that all the time. It's always got the POGM at the end of it, though, for Presence of God Ministry. But I wouldn't put my last name up there, though. First name. Okay. Right here. So,
I'm gonna walk the dog.
okay. All right. So she's going to go walk the dog. If we are to take his spoken written word literal, how can we twist it? Amen. Good point. And when it comes to prophecies, and see, that's where a lot of people do. They put their opinions in there, and that's why I keep echoing 2 Peter 1:20. I mean, it's just, and I found that many years ago when because we were the first ones to do online church, and I remember going into this room where this young man was telling everybody that oil meant something. I don't know. I can't remember. It had something to do with honey and ants coming up to a tree. I can't remember exactly what, but there was honey, ants, and trees involved. And when I had my chance on the microphone, I showed him in the scriptures. First, I showed 2 Peter 1:20, and then I showed the actual definition of oil. As a matter of fact, if you just go to the symbols of Revelation, let me get back to the top and go to O for oil, and then just go to oil. It literally means Holy Spirit, anointed, gladness, and joy. And I got all the verses to back it up as well, and they're all underlined, and for some reason, they're totally underlined. Oh, my. So this is when I got hacked years ago. So, oh, man, that ruins everything. But I have the actual book. Oh, this is really ticking me off now. The whole thing is underlined, everything. I hope it's just this browser. Let me get up to the, see, when you get up to the top, it doesn't do that, but I can't go and re-underline everything. I've got the original of this probably from decades ago. Well, not decades, probably like 10 years ago. No, wait, yeah, it was 2008 when I did it. Yeah, 2008. So one of the brothers actually made an app that you could download. Oh, I thought you could. I guess it doesn't work anymore, that link. Anyway, all right. Let's see. Okay, Breadcrumbs has a question. Okay, let me see. Stephen says, in your last Sabbath teaching, you taught that AD meant after death. My family thought it meant Anno Domini in the year of our Lord. We are confused. Can you please clear that up for us? Yeah, a lot of people use the Anno Domini, the Latin thing, but most people from growing, even the encyclopedias when I was young, it was after death. They said it meant after death. So, but I never, it doesn't matter though, because we all know in 27 AD, he wasn't 27 years old, okay, or whatever. I don't know how to really explain it. Is the sinner's prayer real? Yes and no. And what I mean is, before I became a Sabbath keeper, I was doing computer programming and networking and graphic arts for this one ministry. And they were Baptists. And I made this software. I just used DBase, so it was really just a database. But I did make this software for them that I logged all of the reports weekly. And there's a reason I'm sharing this. All the weekly reports as per the preachers and pastors that went into the prisons and talked to the guys. Because it was I'm not going to say the name of the ministry because the guy ended up getting busted by the FBI. He was an ex-mobster. He was, the guy that ran it was an enforcer for the mob. He became a Christian, and then years later I ran into him and started working for him when I was a Christian. And I didn't think of his mobster stuff, and all that. I didn't care about that because this is like with my dad's friends. They were like that. But so it didn't really matter to us. But they would call in and say, yeah, I talked to 20 guys this week, and 20 of them accepted Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. And right off the bat, I knew there was something going on here. I thought that was wrong, and I even talked to him about it. And usually they would say anywhere, like say I talked to 20 guys and say 18 accepted the Lord as Savior, or 19 accepted the Lord. It was always a ridiculous. No, I've done street preaching, and it just doesn't work that way, right? And then once in a while there would be this preacher that would come in, and he lived in the area, and so he would just literally come in and give me his totals, and I would just put him into the database, right? That guy was legit. He says, yeah, not a good week. I talked to 25 guys and I got 3 of them to accept the Lord as Savior. That was legit. And so what I mean by the yes and no on the sinner's prayer thing is because, You just don't recite it and automatically gain heaven. You have to believe what you're saying. And you say it in your own words. You see, now here's the thing. The Lord doesn't hear the sinner's prayer until the sinner prays the sinner's prayer, if you know what I mean. Like, for example, if you're a sinner and here's a good example. There's one preacher where I actually started doing my pulpit preaching from. His name was Pastor Russ, and he was an arsonist before he was a Christian. Great bunch of guys I used to know, right? But anyway, he was, one time he was starting this one place on fire. This is back in the 60s when he was doing this, or 70s. And he used gasoline because they didn't have the means by which to really investigate certain things, I guess. And he didn't care. It was an insurance job anyway. And he would throw the gas, and then he lit it and realized at the last second that he put too much gas and he was too close. And so he had to run and then jump out of a second-story window. And as he's running and jumping, he's going, "Oh, Lord, please don't let me get hurt or die." The Lord never heard that prayer because he was a sinner. But when the same man, years later says, "Oh, Lord, forgive me for the sins I have committed. I dedicate my life to you. I will follow you from this day forward." That is the prayer he hears. There's a big difference between the fake stuff like repeat after me stuff you see on the streets. Okay, good. Go on. You're off to be a Christian now. Everything's good. See you. Bye-bye. Next. And no, that's not Christianity. That's just seeking people that will donate to you. That's churchianity. So there's something between BC and AD. Yeah, year 0. But you got to add it. I messed up when I was doing the calculations for the 2300-year prophecy, and as well as the 1260. I kept getting a year off until this one preacher, I was really young at the time, and this preacher friend that I knew, he says, "Hey, man, did you forget to add the 0 year?" I says, "Oh, well, that's right. You would have to add," even though there was no such thing. It was just, the Gregorian thing, when they changed the calendars. As a matter of fact, they tried to change the Sabbath, but the Lord wouldn't even let them. They couldn't change the course of the week. They could change the times and laws, but they can't change the course of the week, because some people come up to me and say, "Well, how do you know it's really the true Sabbath?" Well, because they never changed the weekly cycle, and I could prove it. If you go to, back to that Antichrist changing times and laws thing here, you go here and you scroll down, and I got an actual facsimile of the calendar. This is the year before they invented leap year. To catch up and try to make everything work out for them, they removed quite a few days. I think it looks like about 11 days out of the month of October. So Thursday, October 4th, you would think Friday would be October 5th, but no, it was October 15th. But if you notice, it still went Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. They weren't allowed to change the course of the week, but the Lord said, "It doesn't matter what you do with the numbers, because you're not going to change the basic reality of it all." And so, that's that, the Catholic thing. But anyway, was there any more questions? Let's see here. No repeat after me. Yeah. That repeat after me prayer. It's just like the rosary. As a matter of fact, I got the Catholic doctrine. You go down here. The rosary. I got a page all about. And I used to pray the rosary. I was a devout Catholic. I wasn't kidding when I said I taught Catholic doctrine. I was a devout Catholic. We went to every holy day of obligation, not just Sunday, but on Ash Wednesday or on St. Blaise's Day or Anthony's Day or Stanislaus's Day or any other day, like, Valentine's Day or Easter or Christmas, all that stuff, right? And it's all paganism. Christianity. I got a page on the website all about Christmas. It has nothing to do with Christianity at all. It's all paganism, and I can prove it. And anyway, and that's what actually made my 10 siblings and parents disown me 30-some years ago. I mean, it was bad enough I left the Catholic Church, but when I did that thing about Christmas, that upset them. When I said, "Look, I just love you. I want to tell you the truth here." But the thing is, the rosary is just a bunch of prayers to Mary. They're canned prayers, kind of like the novenas. And I used to do the novenas, where you would say a recited prayer 9 days in a row, and then you would have your prayer answered. And it would be like with St. Therese. He'd all of a sudden send you a rose from heaven. And the demons would make sure those roses would appear. I kid you not. I've seen it with my own eyes. But then again, I also messed with astral projection, psychokinesis, and telekinetics, and face changing. And so I did see some manifestations, like demons. And I was a devout Catholic. See, that's how messed up that religion is. It's paganism. It's witchcraft. And literally witchcraft. And but here, check this out. You know the sign of the cross? Before I click this, because I did a video about this, and it really upset a lot of people. But hey, truth is truth. You know when they make the sign of the cross, they touch their forehead, then they touch their chest, and they touch the left shoulder and the right shoulder. Do you know that's actually an upside down cross they're doing on their bodies? And I can prove it. I did a video, and I made the graphics and everything for the video, the show. You touch the forehead, and then you touch the chest. Then you go to shoulder. It's upside down cross. It's just like the upside down cross in the SDA Church's logo. If you go to sdaapostasy.org, which is my sister site, and the only reason I set up this site is because of the some SDA ministers tried to get me thrown behind bars for some fictitious thing, and it all failed, of course, because I didn't do nothing wrong. But it was because at that time my website, Rebbe to God, was only 5,000 pages long. Now it's over 15, and they wanted me to remove one specific page, and it was this page, the Roman Catholic Seventh-day Adventist, Roman SDA. Let me see if I can find it in here. I don't know if it's this one. Yeah, that's it. This here is statements from the Catholic Church, okay? And then underneath them, you'll see statements from the SDA Church. Statements from the Catholic Church, statements from the SDA Church, statements from the... Just on and on and on. It goes... This is a huge page. I did a video about this, as a matter of fact, on YouTube, and I only used some of the key points in here. Because if I'd have made the video this long and explained all this, it'd be hours long. You wouldn't believe how much agreement there is between the Vatican and the Seventh-day Adventist Church when it comes to their theology. It's sickening. So that's just, what, halfway down. But here, let me show you some pictures, evidence in pictures. This here is the back cover of the student yearbook of Andrews University. That's the pagan Jesus. That's actually the illegitimate son of the Pope by the Caesar. His son's name was Caesar Borgia, and he had an affair. The Pope had an affair, and he had a son, and they wanted his son to be acknowledged as beautiful because his son was a good-looking man. He was a homosexual too, and so they used his image as the image of Jesus. Jesus doesn't look anything like that at all. This is a pretty Jesus. You know, that's the Catholic Jesus. That's the fake one. But look at the pagan hand signal, okay? And look at the cross of Baal inside the crystal ball. This is on the back of the Seventh-day Adventist yearbook for their schools, what they teach their children. All right? And then, of course, there's a zoom in of that pretty Jesus, all right? Let me see if I'm still there. Okay. I think I bounced them all out, so they'll be... And then I zoom in on the picture, you know, the hand here. And then, of course, Mary... halos all over the place. And oh, by the way, those people that say you shouldn't cut the corners of your beard, and so they let their beards go crazy, and my kind of beard has gone a little crazy lately, but it's not because of that, because I've always worn a beard. But this is what it means to be cutting the corners. He's cutting the corners right here, and then, of course, he's making the top. This is a monk, a Catholic monk, with a halo, a pagan halo around his head inside a Seventh-day Adventist church yearbook for the children. Andrews University, and but he's got the three-finger salute and this whole other thing. But that's cutting the corners. In other words, he cuts off the top of the beard. If he had facial hair, it would be cut off here, and it would just, you know, like that. That's what the Lord meant when you go back into the scriptures about cutting the corners of the beards off. And but let me show you something here. And look at this right on the cover, Seventh-day Adventist magazine, just promoting the Pope. So let me just see here. Oh, here. And I got a really good graphic that I use in my videos all the time, but this is the one that started it all. And you'll find this graphic a lot of places, but when you find it, you'll also notice that whoever uses it usually takes my website address out of it right there on the bottom, because they don't like, let me see if I can zoom on it for you there. They don't like, advertising for me, I guess. But in pagan, I want to say hieroglyphics, but it's their etchings from the pagans. The wavy line is the number 6. And so you got 3 wavy lines going around a globe, it looks like, right? So that's 666. And then you got the upside down cross, but most people can't see it. They just think, oh, it's up right side up. Well, no, you follow the cross. I'm an artist, and so I know how to follow graphics. And so you just follow the graphic up, and it's upside down cross. They hide it very, very, stealthily. And there's Samuel Bakioki wearing the Jesuit robe, making the three finger salute. That's for the Vatican. Let me get it back to normal size. This guy actually sent me an email, getting all up in my face. He called me up out of the blue one time because they called me a blood-sucking leech on the SDA church, and I never even asked for donations. I says, I'm not in it for the money, guys. I'm just in it for the souls. And somehow, some way, he called me. I can't remember what it was for, but he insisted he'd send me his book. And I said, look, I don't read books. I read scriptures and computer books at that time. I never even started reading Ellen White yet. And he said, I'm going to send it to you. And I guess he found out who I really was or something like that. And then he calls back 3 weeks later and says he wants his $10. And I says, I told you I didn't want the book first, Sam. I mean, I never wanted it. And he sent it anyway. And he started yelling and screaming. And I says, all right already. I'll send you $10. Not a problem, It's not like it's going to break the bank. And not long after that, he was dead. And so that was in June of 2007 he sent me that. But I don't even know why I think it could have been with Ernie Hibbs. Ernie Hibbs was a preacher that I knew. I never knew he was SDA. When I was pulpit preaching in a Sunday keeping church, he would sometimes sit in the back. And he wasn't even a member of the church. He'd just come in one day and he sat in the back. And I met him through Pastor Russ. And then years later, I started keeping Sabbath. And then he came back into my life. Oh, check this out. This is from, let me see if I can scroll it and get the mic out of the way here. This is students are participating in a worship at an Islamic mosque in Arusha. Look at them all bowing down to Allah. Those are Seventh-day Adventists. They're teachers telling them to bow down to Allah, and they're all doing it. That's SDAism. That's the Seventh-day Adventist Church right there. Okay, let me find another one here. 40 Days of Lent. That's paganism. A lot of churches do this now, but yeah, the Seventh-day Adventist Church does this as well. And look at this. Proudly, the Bible says don't mark the body. But here a young man did. Well, he's not too young. He's got white hair on his arm. Let's see. Remember how Doug Batchelor used to always, expose the Vatican? Kind of like the way Billy Graham used to expose the Vatican when he was a young preacher. Then later on, he started embracing the Pope. Well, look at Doug Batchelor there, hanging out with taking pictures with the, Vatican prelates. They look more like, I don't know if you could, I didn't pick it out. So let's see. And believe it or not, that's a Seventh-day Adventist church. Look at all the pagan spires and phallic symbols and these disgusting shaped building with all the sexual innuendos all over the place on there. Here's a Seventh-day Adventist costume party. It's unbelievable. So sad. Here's the Eye of Horus, right there on the dollar. There it is. There's a Seventh-day Adventist one. The Eye of Horus, and with the three wavy lines. Right. And then here is Doug Batchelor. Oh no, this isn't Doug Batchelor. I think this is John Carter. But Doug Batchelor did a video once recently where he's walking in and out of these Roman columns. It looked so eerie. It was disgusting. But there's you got the pagan cross in the back, and the Roman columns make it look like, Rome is the answer. That's all roads lead to Rome. It's disgusting. And that's a Seventh-day Adventist sermon, church or something. I don't know. It's disgusting. Let me see. Oh, here's a zoom in of, for those that don't believe that the clothing that Samuel Bakioki was wearing was, he actually learned in the Vatican for years. He was in the Vatican being taught by them. But there's the IHS of the Jesuit order. You ever see the Jesuit oath? Yeah, maybe I should close with this. The Pope, the current Pope, took this oath. We go down to horrific. This is RCC Exposed section. Go down to horrific and go down to the Jesuit oath. He took this oath. I'm just going to go to the red paragraph right there. It says this. I furthermore promise and declare that I will, when opportunity present, make and wage relentless war, secretly or openly, against all heretics, Protestants, and liberals, as I am directed to do, to extirpate and exterminate them from the face of the whole earth, and I will spare neither age, sex, or condition, and and that I will hang, waste, boil, flay, strangle, and bury alive these infamous heretics, rip up the stomachs and wombs of their women, and crush their infants' heads against the walls in order to annihilate forever their execrable race. That when the same cannot be done openly, in other words, he got to do it behind closed doors and sneaky, he says, I will secretly use the poison cup, the strangulating cord, the steel of the poniard, or the leaden bullet, regardless of honor, rank, dignity, or authority of the person or persons. In other words, the Jesuits were the ones that assassinated Lincoln. Whatever may be their condition in life, either public or private, as I am at any time may be directed to do so by any agent of the Pope or superior of the Brotherhood of the Holy Faith of the Society of Jesus. Holy faith. He just talked about torturing and murdering people, and they call that a faith. Okay? And for those of you who don't think this is legit, this oath is found in the Subterranean Rome by Charles Didier, as well as, I got the actual source of the, because it was used in a courtroom. They had to use this in a courtroom to acknowledge. Okay, I put the source here somewhere. Some of the stuff is actually from the Vatican itself. But where did I put the source on this? It was published in 1843, by the way. Not a lot of fake news back then. Oh, here it is. House Bill 1523, contested election case of Eugene Bonnewell against Thomas Butler, February 15, 1913. And these are pages 3,215 to 16. So it was during a congressional record. It's on the congressional record of the USA. And these people say, oh, this isn't real. The Catholics will believe their priest when he says it isn't real. But the people that actually look this up, they'll go, oh, it's real. So, and you got the oath of that. I think that's just the Jesuit oath, and then I think I have a regular Roman Catholic oath for the priest. I don't know if that's. I don't know. It's on this page somewhere, maybe. I don't know, or maybe linked out. That's probably what it is. Okay, were there any more questions? Because I'm going to hit it. I'm going to get going. Nope. Let me see if there was... I don't think there was anything else I wanted to share. You might want to check out my blog, though, when you get a chance. Look at the last 3 or 4 blog entries about the COVID thing. This most recent blog, this one here that I did about the Pope's moral authority, I already did a blog on it years ago, but I did it again this time because of the fact that he's finally flexing when the timing is right. If I do a video on this blog, it'll just be a summary like the last ones. I'm just going to do a summary of all this because I'm not going to do a video this long. I mean, most people. That's another thing why I'm actually considering making the videos, because more people hit my blog now than are hitting my videos, and so I might just hang my hat there for a while. I mean, I'll still do videos. I like doing this thing on tonight. So, and let's see. I wonder what Jesuit secondary school, and they made me take down a Facebook because I was opposing them. Amen, Samuel. Praise the Lord. Let's see. Can you explain 1 Timothy 2? Let me see. If this is in depth, I'll just you can email me and I'll use you in a Q&A Sabbath. In other words, because a lot of people send me questions in emails. So what was that? 1 Timothy? Yeah, 1 Timothy 2, 7 to 15. Okay, 1 Timothy 2. I'm an ordained preacher, teacher of the faith. Yeah, lifting up holy hands, that's the way you're supposed to pray. But if you ever notice, everybody, the Catholic Church, the pagans do this, but the Catholic Church got everybody to close their hands, make like the pointy hands, like put them up flat against each other, or just make 2 fists, holding both, interlocking your fingers. That's not how you pray. You got to lift up your holy hands unto heaven. Let's see, a woman adorn themselves in modest apparel. Yeah, this is the... let the women. We already talked about this earlier about let the women. Don't usurp authority. A woman cannot be a pastor. All the women that are pastors, they are not ordained. Don't listen to a thing they're saying because they are not of God, period. End of story. There's just no way of getting around it. There's not a Bible verse to back up their standing there. Not one. As a matter of fact, this verse right here, verse 12, 1 Timothy 2, verse 12 says they shouldn't be standing there. And let's see, notwithstanding, you shall be saved in childbearing if they continue in faith and charity. If they continue in faith. So there's a clue. But I got a lot of notes on each and every one of these verses. See, number 7. Well, I just look at Isaiah 52:8. Let's see, pagans close their hands on verse 8. Women are being instructed here, verses 9 to 15. And so that's more or less what, because, and the reason was because look at verse 13. A lot of people have a hard, that's where they'll stop. Adam was first formed and then Eve. So the man is the head of the house. That's why I said earlier about the head of the house thing. Yeah, hold your hands, hold your palms up while you're praying. Hold your hands open, palms up to heaven when you pray. Yeah, I know. The SDAs say that they claim that they observe the Sabbath, but check this out. Let me just show you something that a lot of SDAs, well, I don't know if you're SDA or not, but if you go to sdaapostasy.org and you go to, where is it here? It's got to be Sunday Keeping SDA churches. Here it is. SDA's Keeping Sunday Holy. I haven't updated this in years, but there's 17 links, and one of them has, here it is, 15. These are 15 churches that keep Sunday holy. 15 of them in that one link alone. And so all these other links, they're all I actually did a video, look at this video here. I made a video about the Seventh-day Adventist Church General Conference. Literally said, when somebody says, well, how come you got Sunday keeping churches open? Or can we worship? That's what it was. Can we worship on Sunday? And he goes, no big deal. Seriously. So, yeah, they're only giving people the idea that they're, it's just like with the Catholic Church claiming to be Christians, but they're not really Christians. And the same thing with the SDAs. They claim to be Sabbath keepers, but they're not. I mean, if you saw my one video about the Seventh-day Adventist Church literally buying time and having a section in the Daytona International Speedway in Florida, and they had these 2 big events, 2 weeks worth of events, which means they broke 2 Sabbaths. They bought and sold and did all these crazy things on Sabbath day. And then on the last Sunday of their, big advertising campaign, they had a Sunday mass. They held a church service on Sunday at the International Speedway. They didn't do it on Saturday, on the Seventh-day Sabbath. No, they did it on the Sunday. So yeah, they offered me $6 million to shut up. When I put up the website for the first time, it's in my docs section here, miscellaneous. Where is it? Let's see, doc files, statement of faith tracks. Let me see, it's in here somewhere. There it is, doc files. Okay, let me just F3 it and put 6 million. Okay, that's not showing up. 6. That's not showing up either. It's on here. I know it's on here somewhere. Maybe it's in the bottom. Here it is. Boom. Well, you got to open it. It's a doc file. I was offered $6 million when the website was only 300 pages. I didn't even have a URL yet. We were on dial-up back then, and I was piggybacking off of AOL. And AOL, by the way, kicked me offline because of some Roman Catholic priests that complained. But they kicked me off at the perfect time because then the internet was opened up to where you didn't need to use You Got Mail. Remember that thing? You didn't have to use AOL's, it wasn't a browser, but it was kind of like a browser. So, but yeah. I thought this offer was bogus. But then remember I was talking about Ernie Hibbs earlier? Well, he died, I don't know, about 15, 20 years ago. But he had some connections, and he was, especially with doctors and politicians, and I told him, I said, I got a 38-page contract here. They're offering me $6 million to go to Russia and give up my useless ministry, they called it. And they were using a pseudo-name of 11 different men. And I sent him the document, and I thought, it's just a joke. And he gets back to me and says, no, it's legit. But it was deadly. Let's just put it that way. I never even, I just said no thanks. As a matter of fact, that's what I titled it. If you look, well, you can't see it because it doesn't show up. It's called No Thanks Doc on my, it's on my server. So if you click that, you can read it. It's an actual document. And but that was, oh man, that was, like I said, the page was only 300 pages. The site was only 300 pages. And they tried to use scare tactics and stuff like that, but it was laughable because I've seen my Lord's hand move. And if it's my time to take a nap, fine. I'm okay with that. I could certainly use the rest. But, it's not like I've looked at death before. So let me, let's see, was there anything else? I have friends from the SDA, they always preaching, always blaming Roman Catholics, becoming Antichrist, and they are only, they claim that they are the enemy of the Roman Catholic. Well, that's not a good way to talk. I mean, I don't consider myself an enemy. As a matter of fact, I welcome the Catholics on my site, and I try to, I have a burden for them. I was Roman Catholic. All my siblings still are. And so I reach out to them. And I've seen many of them leave the church. As a matter of fact, I saw Mother Superior leave the church because of the truth presented. Pastor Andrew Henriquez, he's not who you think he is. You need to get out of his church. He has a 501c3. Well, not a C3. He has a 501c4. He declares that this 144,000 can die, and a lot of other things. He's not safe. Let's just put it that way. He's 501c4. He's joined his church with the state. The only difference is he doesn't get the tax write-off. The 501c3, all the SDA churches are 501c3. That's an image of the beast. Well, so is 501c4. So, but that's not my email address, Stephen. Please don't put email addresses in the stream here. But still, that's not my email address. So. Yeah, I know, wisdom secret. It happens to me a lot. I'll stop. And all of a sudden a question comes up. A brother by the name of Alex comes into the room on, the audio conference room that we have on the site, and he does that. He'll send me a PM and I'll ask a question, knowing I'm going to be going on for another 10 or 15 minutes. And so, yeah, it's just fun for me to be with the brothers and sisters in the faith because I'm out in the middle of nowhere, and I love it out here. Walking around, talking to the Lord on the midday prayer with all the corn and the soybeans, but we call them sawbeans. So it's beautiful out here. But I had a lot of praying today, though, with all those chemtrails floating over. But they put them over our area, and then they waft over to the cities that are like an hour from here. And so I, pray for those people. God bless you too, Salai. So, yeah. And this isolation is all bogus. And if you want proof, go to nicholaspogm.blog. Go there. Oh, look at that. It's put it up goofy like that. But yeah, just go to nicholaspogm.blog. And that's this stuff here. Or if you you can jump out. I don't think I have a thing where you can jump out. I got the feed. But on here, the home. Oh, there it is. Let's see if I can go out to new tab. Yeah, there you go. That's Nicholas P.O.G.M. blog or whatever. And I just started picking this blog up again. I did it years ago, and I let it kind of like go by the wayside for a long time, and I just relit it. I mean, it's always been on, but I didn't really start getting into it until about a year ago, maybe. So, and usually with a lot of my videos, what you see on the blog is a transcript of the video, except for the last few blog entries, because if I put that stuff on YouTube, they will literally pull my page because they've already given me warnings. I've got till, I think it's April 18th before my probation, if you want to call it that, ends. Yeah, but even then, I've had it with YouTube. It's just a joke, And I tried other places like BitChute or GodTube. They banned me because I had... And no excuse, nothing. I put up a video proving the Pope is the Antichrist, right? All of them. All the popes are Antichrist. I put that video up. It was number one on GodTube for like 6 or 7 days. And bam, they pulled it and banned me with didn't even give me a warning. And then, of course, there was other ones like Real.video or something like that. I can't remember some of those other ones. But, yeah, in YouTube... they're shadow banning the daylights out of me. They're pulling out my subs. I don't know how many times I'll refresh, And like I'll go to a video and it says it's got, say, 10,000 hits. And I go and refresh and it says it's got 9,000 hits or something like that. And you know, they knock them down, or it's just, they're playing their silly games. Matter of fact, I got a page on the site exposing them and all this. If you go to remnantofgod.org, go down to warnings and go to persecution. I was originally banned by AOL. Those Catholic priests, like I was saying about earlier. I even encrypted. Look, check this out. Look at these encryptions. And I was telling people, stop using them, stop using them, stop, because, okay, this one's blocked. After 4 times, I says, okay, I'm done. You know. And so because I would have to go remnantofgod-org or something. Whenever my website address would show up on an email, they would automatically, like right now, Gmail bans me, Hotmail bans me, or blocks me or spams me out, but not all of them, which makes it very difficult because I don't know who's going to get it and who doesn't. There's people that have sent blessings to the ministry. I sent them a thank you, and I don't even know if they ever got the thank you. Very annoying, because I never asked for donations, but I do like to thank people. If you're going to, you know, anyway, I got a lot of articles there exposing them, but, you know, AOL. But check out Google, what they did. Okay, let me go down to persecution again, go down to Google, POGM. Now check this out, this first one here. Your message to my address at remnantofgod.org has been blocked. See technical details below for more information. Google was literally telling people that the emails they were sending to me, I was blocking them. No, I have my own servers. I'm not blocking them. Okay, I run my own servers. I build my own servers. I program my own servers, and they're lying. But then look at this next one. I put this video up. Pope gets children to lie for him on camera. And then I had to put in there, ignore the no views claim because it said no views, but yet 60 people already put a thumbs up on it. But it's no views. And then later, I don't know how long later, but when I got the 68 views, then I all of a sudden, or 68 thumbs up, I finally got the 38 views. So they're censoring me. And then if you go, well, here, let me just scroll down here. This is why. They're loyal to Rome. See, the mark of the beast isn't 666. It's 666 is the numbers of his name. That's what the prophecy says. But the world says, oh, it's the mark. No, it's not. It's the loyalty. It's like, that's why all the logos out there. This is why the Hollywood stars put that 666 thing up to their eye. You know, with the, like, it looks like the OK hand sign, but they put it up to their eye. That's 666. I got a video all about that. And but yeah, look at the 666 in the Google logo. And but here's what I noticed years ago, 2009. So 26 million links were saying, like, if you put in remnantofgod.org into Google back in 2009, 26 million links would show up and saying that this website is here. In other words, 26 people were linking to me. 26 million. Now under 20,000, I think. Let me click it. 28,000. Oh, it's going up. Whoop-de-doo. But still. All right. But here, check it out how it all went down. 26 million on October 1st, 2009. September 23rd, 25,700 links. Okay, that's understandable. But boom. The 19th, 18,400. And then I can't remember the date on the 17 million. And then boom, it's down to 20,000 now. But it's I got a section here. This is all that recently that Google did to me personally, right here, besides those videos that were blocked. And then here's all the other people that got blocked and censored and whatever by Google or YouTube. It's mostly Google because YouTube was bought out from them later. And so, but yeah, you shut this off, this off, this off. Anywho, boy, it was been great. I think I'm going to do this what do you think? Once or twice a week, just get on here and kind of show some of the articles that I put on the site, on the blog. What do you think? Should we do it like that? You know, just gather and just gab about what, you know, current events. Yeah, don't all answer at once. You think it's a good idea? Twice a week? Like Mondays and Wednesdays maybe, because that's when I update the site. I update the site on Fridays too, but Friday night we actually do a church service. So let me just see here. I got to put this back to where I want it for, let's see. Where did I put that picture now? Okay, there's the text for today. man. See, isn't that something? It didn't lock the picture in. Let's see, that's not the picture. Oh, here. I got to go here. Oh, there it is. Oh, current events. Duh, I should just read it. Okay, I'm going to lock that in for about 5 seconds just so that I got something to pull up and put it on when I upload this to, or when I allowed it to go public on YouTube. So, God bless you. God bless you, everybody. But yeah, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I might not be able to make it every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, depending upon what's going around about here. But I'm going to try, and because I enjoy this. This is how I started out on the internet decades ago with Fire Talk. I would go to work, 9-to-5 job. I worked 9-to-5 job for 17 years before the Lord told me, well, actually, he told me to go full-time in the ministry in 15 years. But I was scared. I had 8 kids, I because I never asked for donations, never will. And so I says, Father God, I got to rely on you 100%. I'm not there yet. I'm weak there. And then the Twin Towers went down, and after that, about a year after that, I had no choice. He answered a prayer while I was on a pulpit. And boom, shocked the whole church, including my wife, because I didn't tell her. I had just gotten a raise, biggest raise I ever got. And in that sermon, the Lord told me, put in your 2 weeks' notice. And that the rest is history. I don't remember what year that was. But, yeah. Well, send me an email. I wouldn't know where to look there, Sister Monica. God bless you. Night, everybody. But yeah, I just go where you can in your area. It's just the safest place you can. Because all this stuff you see now with the corona thing, it's going to boil down for a little bit. As soon as they know they got all their ducks in a row, then they're going to use it later when they enforce the mark. When that has to be before 2030, because that's when they're planning their. And think about this, people. Go back to look at the parable about the Good Samaritan, and remember, Jesus ascended to heaven in the year 31 AD. They want a one-world government in 2030. That's exactly 1,999 years from when he ascended. He ascended exactly 2,000 years ago in the year 2031. Now, I'm not setting no dates. I'm not doing it because he can come in 2029. He can come in 2035. He would come in the 2,000 years if he wants. It's fine. We don't know. But we're just saying we are that close now. We are that close. All right, so, you're in Illinois? Yeah, that's where I grew up. It's Southside Chicago. Where are you at? Anywhere in that area? But I lived, I moved to downstate Illinois, and then eventually moved over to Indiana. But here's the thing, Monica, with Illinois, though. Lake Zurich, okay, I don't even know what it is. I think that's up in upper higher area of Illinois. But the one thing I found out is when you get away from the big city, I found, first we moved into a house, 4 bedrooms, $400 a month, where everybody else was paying $1,500 a month in the Chicago area. And then the Lord blessed us with a farmhouse for $100 a month, 5 bedrooms, 5 acres. We lived there 8.5 years. We rented that. And then we eventually moved to Indiana because of the church, and we were trying to be part of this one church, and then it turned out the church had some major problems. But I didn't know the church had those problems until I moved to Indiana and started hanging with the pastor. And I saw things and tried to help them, but it didn't go good. Some people don't like to be helped, I guess. But let's see. But yeah, you're in Chicago? Oh, yeah, yeah. That's where I grew up. My wife was actually born. I was born in Chicago and left when I was 5. Well, actually, my dad took me, but and my mom. I didn't, didn't know how to drive at 5. But yeah, downstate Illinois, some pretty stuff. You hop over Indiana, check it out. We were going to buy a house in Illinois, but we decided to go with Indiana because in Illinois, minimum $1,800 to $8,000 a year for taxes, property tax. You know how much it is in Indiana? Still, $300. That's it. So hop on down and go to Indiana, and Indiana's a little prettier too. It's kind of got some lumps in it here and there. It's mostly flat because it's farmland, but you do get some lumps around. But Illinois is mostly flat, unless you get up there by Starved Rock, but that's different. But I'll keep you in prayer, Monica. For Stop by in the chat room too. Just like when you come to Remnant of God on Sabbath, or like if the pop-up doesn't show up, click right there. It says, POGM conference room, or right up here, join us for online church. You click that, and you hit the join us, and then here's a video right here. It shows you how to sign up and all that. It's only 6 minutes. It's free. No, there's no downloads. You don't have to do any of that. It's all based on my server. So, and there's a lot of people you can. We only have anywhere from. I think the most I've ever seen in the audio conference room, because a lot of people don't like the conference room stuff for some odd reason, and it doesn't work on everybody's cell phone, but most cell phones, I'd say 80% of them. So really, the most I've ever seen in the conference room is like lower 90s, but it's usually mid 50s, mid 60s families, and then in the stream it could get anywhere from, who knows, 50 to 100. And then the radio, I think the most I've ever seen on there was a little over 100 on the radio, WTPR. That's this here. You click this button there, and you just click that blue speaker, and you're listening to WTPR. That's wrong right there. I got to fix that. It's a little over that now. I haven't updated it in a while. It's just got old sermons. But we go live on WTPR on Friday nights, 8 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern rather, and Sabbath day from noon Eastern time till 6:30, 7 o'clock, something like that. We're just gabbing all day. But the church service is only from like noon to 3:15, I'd say, or 2:15, and I gab till like 3:15. So, anywho. Yeah. So, well, Tristan, if you want to use the cell phone to get into the conference room, you got to get a Flash-based browser. They're free. Like Puffin or Dolphin. Those are free browsers. Puffin, or as a matter of fact, I have links to them. You go to POGM conference room, scroll down, and right here, you got right down here, I've got some links that you can download these browsers. They're free, and they'll allow you to come to the conference room. When you click the microphone, it shows you the mic's on, but we're not going to hear you. For some reason, you can't talk using a cell phone in my room. But you can hear me. You can hear anybody else that gets on the mic. All right. Or you can just listen in live on WTPR. I used to have a teleconferencing thing, but it's about as reliable as Chicago weather, so I took it off. It was on there for 4 or 5 years, and it was constantly dropping the call. So I might put it back on because they keep emailing me these new features for free and all that. So I might put it back on, but I got to really think about it. But I'm really going to go this time. So take care, everybody. God bless. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope and pray you were blessed by everything we shared tonight. But we'll see you tomorrow night if you stop by. Take care. Good night, everybody.